Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Terry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism, the friendliest anarchist you will ever meet. And it's that time of the week, again, for the Ask Me Anything. And I've got a couple of really good questions this week. And the first question is sort of a two-part question. And then the second part, or rather the second question, is one of those sort of educational sorts of questions where I actually had to do some research. And these are the really fun questions for me. So let's jump into the first question. Question is, and again, two-parter, can inanimate objects violate the non-aggression principle? I recently read a claim that pollution violates the non-aggression principle, so is driving a violation, but the byproduct of a natural forest is not? So first, let me sort of explain for any of the listeners that might not be familiar with the non-aggression principle what exactly that is. It's the guiding principle of libertarian philosophy that no one has a right to aggress against someone else. I do not have the right to come and take your stuff, to force you to do things against your will. And aggression can come in many different avenues. Aggression does not have to just be physical force. If I come and break the front window of your house, I have committed an act of aggression against you, even though I did not physically assault you. So, the question, can inanimate objects violate the non-aggression principle? That question, as worded, must be answered no. However, inanimate objects can be used to violate the non-aggression principle. If I come over to your house, in the aforementioned scenario where I come over and I break your front window, if I break it with my hand or my forearm or throwing my body through the window, then I broke the window. If I throw a rock through the window, technically the rock broke the window, but I was the person using this thing to do the breaking, so I still committed the act of aggression. Inanimate objects are incapable of committing aggression because they are incapable of action on their own. And I would even say that dogs and lions and tigers and bears and deer and owls and chickens and chipmunks and squirrels and mosquitoes are incapable of violating the non-aggression principle because they don't have sentience. So only humans, and there might be other sentient beings out there somewhere that we are not in contact with, but only sentient beings are capable of violating the non-aggression principle because only sentient beings are capable of, cognitive thought, whereas all of the other animals that I mentioned, they're only capable of responding. So, the first part of the question here, can an inanimate object violate the non-aggression principle? No. But again, inanimate objects can be used to violate the non-aggression principle. The question continues, I recently read a claim that pollution violates the non-aggression principle. So is driving a violation, but the byproduct of a natural forest fire is not. And this is where sort of minutia comes in. And I realize that a lot of libertarians don't like minutia. They want black and white of it either is or it is not. Well, let me give an example here. And again, minutia. And I believe it's Michael Pickens who has often said the solution to pollution is dilution. So if I urinate in your cup of coffee, I think everybody would agree that I have, violated your cup of coffee. Your cup of coffee is now ruined, can't be used. But if I urinate in the Mississippi River that is a lot larger, nobody's going to say, oh, well, nobody can ever use the Mississippi River again because it's diluted to such a point to where it's basically minuscule. If I go to your house and I just, throw anthrax everywhere, then, yeah, I've definitely, violated the non-aggression principle using anthrax. But if there's one tiny granule of anthrax floating around somewhere, then, again, it's very diluted. And, again, the question asked of if a human does something, then is that a violation of the NAP? But when the forest does it naturally, that's not a violation. Again, going back to the original, only sentient beings can actually wind up committing acts of aggression. But just because if I do something that, winds up polluting your property or your air, that doesn't mean that something else can't also wind up polluting the air, but you can't get restitution from the forest. You can get, if I come over and just blow a bunch of smoke in your face and it causes you to cough and hack, then you could seek restitution from me. I don't know what the restitution would be, and I realize that, some people want, hey, Darryl, centrally planned liberty and tell me the answer to everything. And if you can't answer every question I have, then I'm just going to reject the ideas of liberty because I need it centrally planned. Well, I can't centrally plan liberty. That's kind of the point of liberty. And no, I don't have all of the answers, but when you look at things from the philosophical base, you can come to logical conclusions. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com.
Hi, this is Davi Barker from ShinyBadges.com, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Changing gears and changing questions, but before I read the next question, I want to make sure that I tell you about Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. Since 1977, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And they take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. So call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760. That's 800-874-9760, or visit them online at rrbi.co. That's rrbi.co. Next question, Darryl, is Greek yogurt really yogurt? And this is actually rather interesting. So I've actually got a couple of articles here about Greek yogurt. The first from kitchen.com, actually thekitchen.com. And for some odd reason, there's no E in kitchen. But don't worry, you don't need to try to spell it. I will post the link in the show notes. And they actually answer the question of what's the difference between regular yogurt and Greek yogurt. And then apparently there are 6 myths about Greek yogurt that prevention.com has. And we'll get into this because, again, I love the questions where I get to learn something. So thekitchen.com says the opinion, or rather the options in the yogurt aisle at the grocery store have increased greatly over the years, with Greek yogurt taking up just as much space on the shelves as the regular stuff. But what's the difference between Greek and regular yogurt, and which one should you buy? Well, I'm just going to tell you the difference, but to get into the differences, need to look at how they're made. The process for making regular and Greek yogurt starts off the same. Milk is first heated and then cooled to the desired fermentation temperature between 106 and 114 degrees Fahrenheit before bacterial cultures are added. The mixture is then left to ferment until the bacteria grows, produces lactic acid, and gels the milk proteins to produce regular yogurt. To make Greek yogurt, regular yogurt is strained extensively to remove liquid whey. That's liquid whey. They've got a line break here, so it looked like 2 different things. But liquid whey and lactose are removed from the regular yogurt to make the Greek yogurt, which leaves behind a thicker textured yogurt. So what's the actual difference? Besides texture, there are some other differences between regular and Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt has almost double the amount of protein of regular yogurt. So if you're on a high-protein diet, you might want to go with the Greek yogurt if yogurt is part of your diet. Unless you're using the non-fat varieties, Greek yogurt has about 3 times the saturated fat of regular yogurt. So, high fat, high protein, yep, eat some Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt contains about half the sodium of regular yogurt and about half the carbs of regular yogurt. But they say, remember that adding sweeteners to either will increase the carb count. The one to choose really depends on the texture and dietary preferences. Because of its thicker texture and tangier flavor, Greek yogurt is often used as a healthier substitute for sour cream, creme fraiche, and mayonnaise. And I don't know if I pronounced that second thing right. It's a word that I've honestly never seen before. And then they give some tips on how to make yogurt at home. But what are some of the myths about Greek yogurt? And, well, what are the truths? Prevention.com has some myths about what they call the go-to breakfast item. Some people refer to it as super healthy, a superfood. And they say while those adjectives do apply to some Greek yogurts, unfortunately not every strain is equally nutritious. In fact, see why the Air Force actually banned one kind of Greek yogurt, and they link over to another article that I may or may not get into on this show. If I don't, the link will be in the show notes. If I do, the link will also be in the show notes. So in either case, just look at the show notes, and you'll find the link. So what are some of the 6 myths about Greek yogurt? Myth: Greek yogurt is regulated. Now, the libertarians among you listening, yep, the word regulated here means what you think it means. When I first saw this, I was like, oh, is this some weird sort of culinary term that I've not heard before? No. They mean it in the sense of there's not a government entity saying this is Greek yogurt and this is regular yogurt. And they take a sort of weird spin on this. Again, reading from prevention.com, they say, first, a little yogurt making 101. Traditionally, Greek yogurt is made by straining the yogurt to remove the whey, the liquid remaining after the milk is curdled, and the end result is a more solid yogurt with less sugar, fewer carbs, and more protein compared to regular yogurt. That said, there are no rules about what can and cannot be called Greek yogurt, says Maria Bella, who is a registered dietitian and has a bunch of letters after her name, including MSRD and CDN. Now, let me sort of pause here to say that I'm fairly certain there are rules over whether or not you could wind up calling a potato chip yogurt. And, you know, that includes you can't call a potato chip Greek yogurt. So when they say that there's no rules about what you can call Greek yogurt, they don't mean what you think they mean here. There are some rules on what qualifies as yogurt, but not as many as they want. Stay tuned.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. Coinbase also allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin using a bank account or use their tools to accept Bitcoin as a merchant. Coinbase has more than 1 million consumer wallets and is trusted by over 25,000 merchants, including Overstock.com, Khan Academy, Reddit, and of course, FPP. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Question was, is Greek yogurt actually yogurt? And, well, it starts off as yogurt, and then there's some stuff done to it. And I found this list of 6 myths about Greek yogurt that definitely seems to fit. And myth number 1 is that Greek yogurt is... The myth is that Greek yogurt is regulated. The truth, according to prevention.com, is that's not true at all. Again, the registered dietitian that they spoke with, Maria Bella, MSRDCDN, says that there are no rules about what can and cannot be called Greek yogurt. The FDA does have regulations in place for what you can call yogurt, but there's no special regulation on slapping the Greek label onto yogurt, which again, not the same thing as saying there's no rules about what can be called Greek yogurt. There's just not a specific rule about what kind of yogurt can be labeled Greek yogurt. Again, you cannot claim that a bag of potato chips is Greek yogurt in accordance with the current existing rules. Now, in a free market society, you want to call your bag of potato chips Greek yogurt? Fine, go for it. And then everybody laughs at you and says, that's not Greek yogurt, you're a dumbass. I digress and continue. Again, the FDA has regulations about what gets classified as yogurt, but the article says that's why companies can add additional ingredients, change the process of how it's made, and then still use the Greek label. To ensure you're eating true Greek yogurt, you should read the ingredient label. The main ingredient should be milk and live active cultures. You'll want to steer clear of added protein like whey concentrates and added thickeners like modified cornstarch. Myth number 2 is that Greek yogurts are packed with protein. And, well, thekitchen.com says that Greek yogurt has about twice the amount of protein as regular yogurt. And the truth is that most Greek yogurts do contain about twice the protein of regular yogurt, but that doesn't mean that every brand contains the same amount of protein. And Bella, again, says this could be due to different straining processes that companies use. For example, some 5.3-ounce containers pack 10 grams, while others like Kobani and Fage offer 18 grams of protein per 6-ounce container. That's 50% more protein, even after you adjust for the slightly different serving size. The third myth is that all Greek yogurt is made the same way. And as was alluded to in myth number 1 and myth number 2, that's just not true. Greek yogurt gets its pleasantly thick consistency and higher protein count through the straining process. However, some brands skip the straining and add thickening agents, such as cornstarch, carrageenan, or guar gum, as well as protein-enhancing ingredients such as milk protein or whey concentrates to mimic the rich texture and protein content. There's nothing inherently wrong with these ingredients, but Bella notes that they simply aren't Greek yogurt. It's easy to avoid yogurts made with cornstarch or milk protein concentrates. Both items appear on the ingredients list. Myth: Greek yogurt is vegetarian. Well, I'm still kind of confused on what the difference between vegetarian and vegan is. And knowing that Greek yogurt, like regular yogurt, starts with milk and then, does a ferment thing, and then there's live bacteria cultures. Live vegetarians tend to not eat things that were live unless it was some kind of plant thing, and then they're like, oh, well, it's a plant, so therefore it's different. But again, myth is Greek yogurt is vegetarian. Not every brand, says prevention.com. Gelatin may also be added to some Greek yogurts to give the yogurt a more slippery texture. Gelatin usually comes from collagen obtained from various animal byproducts. And I learned about 17 years ago that in a lot of cases, gelatin is actually a pork product. Because what they don't tell you here, collagen is a different word for bone marrow. Yeah, the stuff that's inside of a bone. And one of the best sources for that, or easiest sources, I guess, is from pork. So therefore, in a lot of cases, gelatin is a pork product. They say that's not a problem for people who eat meat, that being that gelatin comes from the collagen that comes from animal, they say byproducts, and yet the bones are technically byproducts in a lot of cases. Not a problem for people like me who are meat eaters, but it can be a problem for lacto-vegetarians who will still consume milk, cheese, and yogurt. Also, some brands use a substance called carmine to give strawberry-flavored yogurt a pink hue. Carmine is a natural dye derived from the body of beetles. And by beetles, we're talking about the little tiny insects, not John, Paul, Ringo, and the other guy. So, yeah, Greek yogurt might not be vegetarian. What are the other myths about Greek yogurt? Not that they're necessarily Greek myths, but they're myths about Greek yogurt. Well, stay tuned. to find out here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and Other Essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. Not going to be able to get into the article about why the Air Force banned one specific type of Greek yogurt. But again, the link will be in the show notes. And spoiler, if you plan on reading the article, it's Kobani Blueberry. Just in case you didn't want to read the whole thing. And we're like, which thing? Kobani Blueberry. And it's an interesting story of why they banned it, so you might still want to wind up reading that article. But we're going over some of the myths about Greek yogurt, because there was the question about whether or not Greek yogurt is actually yogurt. And yes, it's actually yogurt. There's just some stuff done to it. Myth number 5, I believe this is, flavored Greek yogurt is healthy too. Your first choice, they say, and again, this list comes from prevention.com. Your first choice should be plain Greek yogurt. If you want to lightly sweeten it, opt for pieces of fresh fruit or a drizzle of honey. That's because flavored Greek yogurt tends to contain a lot of sugar, as much as 15 to 20 grams per serving. Beware, too, of sneaky sugars such as grape juice concentrate, evaporated cane juice, and others. If you're still going to eat a flavored yogurt, the dietitian that they spoke to recommends basing your decisions on the ingredients list. The first 3 ingredients should be milk, live and active cultures, and fruit. Sugar, added sugar, that is, should come near the end of the list if it's on the list at all. And myth number 6. And I have to say that I've not heard most of these myths about Greek yogurt. But myth number 6, frozen Greek yogurt is the same as regular Greek yogurt. I've never heard of frozen Greek yogurt. I've heard of frozen yogurt, but never frozen Greek yogurt. But apparently, it's a myth. And they say here that frozen Greek yogurt is not just regular yogurt thrown into a freezer. While they may have the same number of calories and same number of fat, or same amount of fat per serving, frozen yogurt typically contains more sugar and far less protein. And then they give the numbers. The bottom line, Greek frozen yogurt is still a dessert, not a breakfast. And I would say that a lot of the things that people think of as quote-unquote breakfast foods, not really breakfast foods at all. They're, more desserts. Don't forget, every Friday I answer your questions. Send those over, ama.fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.